All right. So, Tim, it's a great opportunity to get to talk to you finally.
Thanks
Um,
for having me.
yeah, we are having this research that we are doing. It's a book that we're writing. A colleague of mine too. She hasn't been able to join us today. But it's going to be about pump and dumps. And generally, we thought that since you have a great track record of sniffing out pump and dumps, we thought you were one of the people we would get to talk to give us some insight on pump and dumps. And especially, we're trying to look at the period post the financial crisis. So that's post 2008.
Yeah,
Um,
go
so
ahead.
to start with, tell me about pump and dumps generally, Tim.
Sorry, I got too much going on here. I want to give you my full attention, but this is my life.
I know.
I've been trading pump and dumps since 1999. I didn't know it at first. I was just buying hot penny stocks. Then in 2001, 2002, I learned how to short sell. Um, I mean, there's different promoters now, different websites, different newsletters, different companies, but it's the same tactics. These promoters hype these stories up. They say, "Oh, we found all this gold, we found all this oil, we found, this company has a big contract with the U.S. government. This is the next big website." Whatever it is, they pitch these stories to these unsuspecting, frankly, naive investors and traders all over the world. And a lot of people with not a lot of money believe it. And, that's why they don't have a lot of money. That's why they're good targets. It's like the Wolf of Wall Street. And it's going to keep happening. And my job is to teach people, how to spot pump and dumps so that they can avoid investing in them. And number two, if they want to take it to the next level where they can actually bet against them because every single pump and dump, crashes eventually. So you can make money by betting against them.
Oh, great, great, great. So, can you tell me some of the indicators that you can see to determine if this smells like a pump and dump?
Yeah. Did you see the Wolf of Wall Street, by the way?
Yeah, 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 yeah. Jordan
So
Belfort.
that was in the '90s. That was before the internet. You would get a phone call. You probably shouldn't trust people with phone calls, but there was no real way for you to do like investigations. Now with the internet, just simply with Google Maps. I mean, you type in the company headquarters. It's funny sometimes you see like a PO box, a FedEx. The company doesn't have an actual headquarters. One time I shorted this company based in Calgary. They were based out of a barn. It was like literally a barn on Google Maps, and that was their company headquarters. I encourage everybody, if you hear about a penny stock, just Google the address, step number one. Number two, start Googling around for like the CEO and the CFO and any management, their names, whatever their name is, and then type in the word fraud or lawsuit or SEC, and you'll usually find a lot of red flags because the pump and dumpers are the same kind of people over and over again. And number three, this is a little more intricate, but if you look at the auditing firm of every company, if you look at whenever they report financials, if you look at the company's auditor, there's a thing called a PCAOB, and it's where basically this company, this government organization grades different auditors. And on pump and dumps, you find that a lot of these auditors have failing, grades. They're still in business, but they're not good auditors. And that you're looking for all these red flags. That's the basic gist of it.
So, can someone find out some information? For example, looking at the EC website, the Edgar website.
Yeah, I mean, they're SEC filings. They're 10, 20, sometimes 50 pages long, so they're long and boring. But if you read through them and you see that these companies have like a few $1,000s in cash, maybe a few $1,000s in revenues, and their market valuations are 50, 100, 200 million dollars, you might say this company is not worth $100 million. That's not to say that sometimes the pump and dumps can go on for weeks, sometimes even months. The number one biggest thing that people who don't want to do investigations and who are lazy and who don't want to read through filings can do, if you get an email or a tip on Facebook or Twitter or something, with, basically a stock tip, a penny stock tip, just look at the bottom of the email or whatever website it takes you to. There's a disclaimer. All of these promotions are required to have a disclaimer on the bottom saying, we've been paid, I don't know, $1.5 or $3 million for this advertisement. And any legitimate company is not going to pay hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars for advertisements because they're focused on spending their money on their actual business. With pump and dumps, you have this disclaimer of the promotional budget for the stock because the whole goal is to get the stock up. It doesn't matter what the company does. It doesn't matter what their business is. It's the stock is the product that they're selling, and people don't realize it.
Wow, wow, wow. So, tell me about you were well known for having spotted Justin Bieber, Pump and Dump, and Shaq, Pump and Dump, and Sponge Take.
Sponge Tech, yeah.
Yeah, tell me about those.
Sponge Tech and all of these companies, they just come across my screen because I look for stocks that are up a ton. Sponge Tech went from, I believe, like 1/100th of a penny up to 30 cents a share. So the stock is at 30 cents a share. It doesn't look like it's like that expensive of a stock. But given that it came from such like one infinitesimal point of a penny, it was a huge run-up. And, the whole run-up's just reeked. As I said, you have to look at the web pages, the emails that you're getting about the company. And on the bottom were disclaimers saying, we have been compensated, I don't know, 2 million shares or $500,000. There were different promoters who got paid different amounts to pump the stock. And that's why the stock was up. So I wrote about it. The New York Post picked up my research. They did a more thorough investigation. They actually discovered that the company had, all their orders came from some mystery customer in Dubai. When the New York Post called their customer in Dubai, it was some guy picked up and he was like, "Who is this?" Then the phone was disconnected later, and the New York Post just had a field day with it. The company actually tried to sue me and the New York Post, saying that we conspired together, and I was scared because I'd never been sued before. They never served me, and the very day that they put out that press release saying that they were going to sue me, or maybe the next day. The whole company management got arrested for fraud, money laundering, insider trading, all sorts of stuff, and they were found guilty. So I just spotted red flags. That's what it comes down to. Same thing with Justin Bieber and Shaquille O'Neal. They were compensated to promote their penny stocks. Justin Bieber owned like 16% of his crappy penny stock. Shaquille O'Neal got, I think, 4 million shares. And again, just like Sponge Tech, the companies had no revenues, no cash, and yet their stocks were surging because of these promotional mailing campaigns.
Wow. So how do you feel that after 2008, do you feel like pump and dumps have increased or have they gone down?
There's more regulation now. The SEC is finally starting to halt these companies, stop them from trading. It's good to be short. I made $70,000 the other day when I was shorting a pump and dump, and the SEC halted it. That was nice. That happens every now and then. So there's more regulation, but because it's a bull market from 2009 to 2014, there's so much money, and penny stocks are going crazy. It's just like 1999 again. I'm already up like 400,000 in 2 months in 2014, and I'm focused on teaching, so trading comes secondary, but there's just so many plays. It's really a great bull market right now.
Wow. So, do you feel like during because I know you have you do a lot of teaching and training. Yeah. How do you incorporate training your students about pump and dumps? Like, do you feel like it's a very vital area that everyone who gets into penny stocks has to know?
Yeah, I wish more people knew it. Sadly, I get most of my customers from people who lose half or all of their money in some penny stock. Then they start Googling around and they see like a blog post where I tried to warn them, but I didn't reach them in time. So I need to reach more people. That's why I do interviews like this. This is why I work my butt off every day. And teaching comes down to showing the patterns, giving example after example. A lot of promoters say, Tim Sykes is full of BS. Well, I have hundreds of pump and dumps that I've exposed and shorted, and basically was dead on. So if you want to doubt me, that's fine, but I have the stats, and a lot of my job is just getting people to believe that I'm real, because there's so many fake gurus on the internet who claim to be rich and claim to have turned a few thousand into a few million. I show every single trade. I continue to show every single trade. So when I say I'm up 400,000, you can see every single trade that it took to get there in 2 months. So my job is basically just to show you what I'm doing every single day with trading, and kind of, have the camera on me with video lessons and patterns and setups, and, just be right more than I'm wrong. I'm not right 100% of the time. I'm right about 73% of the time. All the pumps crash eventually, but it's a timing thing. So I'm constantly trading and teaching that way.
Perfect, perfect. So do you feel that the SEC needs to come out more in the microcap market, try to inform investors, and how do you think they can be involved?
I would love that. I don't think they have enough of a budget to combat this. I mean, the promoters run amok on the internet because they're paying all these various websites like Yahoo Finance and Bloomberg and Forbes to advertise on their website. And financial websites don't make a distinction. They kind of say, you know what, if someone's stupid enough to buy a pump and dump, they deserve to lose their money. I really wish the SEC would change from doing so much regulation, which, you halt a penny stock here and there, sure, it sends a message, but I would love for them to get more into the educational side of things, and just teach people and say, look, here's like 7 red flags that this company might be a fraud. But they've never contacted me, so I would help teach if they did.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. Well, so Tim, the other thing that I wanted to find out, I realized that you've turned so many of your students into. You've had I think in the last year you had 2 who you turned into millionaires.
You're millionaires in the last few weeks, actually.
Yeah, so, yeah. I was. Oh, last few weeks.
Last few weeks, yeah. It's kind of cool.
Wow. So how do you feel that the country has to look at touts, especially, I mean, in light of the Wolf of Wall Street, and now that we know that some of the touts are offshore, they're not even here. How do you feel the government may approach that?
Again, it comes all down to education. You're never going to be able to regulate a market, entirely and have there be no scams. The only thing that you can do is prevent and lessen the number of people who do get scammed, and that is by widespread education. Showing specifically, what causes pump and dumps. Don't make it dry like most SEC filings. The reason why education is so lacking is because finance is so boring. So I try and spice it up. I show my Lamborghini. I show my $50,000 watches. You got to show the rewards to get people to study. Otherwise, they're not going to want to study. So, I mean, this doesn't even just get into government. I mean, this gets into what's wrong with our whole education system in America. So I found that the way best to teach people is by showing them, look, if you want, watches like this and cars and mansions and the good life, then here, study this stuff. I don't think the SEC is capable of doing that, because most people who work for the SEC are making like 40, 50, 60,000 a year. They don't live the good life. They sit in their offices and do nothing. So I really wish that more business leaders and more hedge fund managers and stock traders and all kinds of traders would really, say, what, let me give back to the community that's gotten me so wealthy and so well off, and really try and teach. That would be incredible. But unfortunately, Wall Street is a very selfish place. So if you're making a lot of money, you don't want people to know how. My business model is kind of cool, where I can make money by showing people how. So I'm very fortunate, and I wish more people would see that.
Oh, that's amazing, Tim. That's amazing. I'm really grateful that we finally done this interview.
Yeah, it took a little time.
I hope you have a great evening, Tim. Thanks so much for taking some time off your busy trading schedule.
No problem, man. Have a good one. Thank you.
All right, thank you.